Okay, so let's move on with our emailing system. So the first thing we need to do is to install a package that will allow us to actually do the mailing functionality. So let's just say go get, and I'm gonna have go pkg .in and / mail dot v2. Okay, all right, and so that has been added. And so let's go ahead and do the next step. We will create a file. So currently, if you notice, we have mailer templates. So inside mailer, we're going to create a mailer.go file where we will be writing all our code for this module or for this unit. So I'm going to say internal mailer, and it's going to be called mailer.go. Okay, and that's what we will be using. Okay, so we will create a package mailer, of course, and let me name my file to keep with our convention. So file name will be internal / mailer / mailer.go. Okay, so a few packages that we will need. We will need bytes. Okay, we will need embed. I'll talk about embed in a few. We'll definitely need HTML template, and we will need time, and of course we will need go pkg .in and / mail.v2. And to add to this, we'll definitely all right, so let's leave it like this. Oops. All right, so let's leave it like that. And let's start off. So the first thing I want to do is to specify where our templates are located and to be able to use those templates in our Go application. And so I'm going to use the embed directive. So this is not a comment. This is actually a directive to Go. And so we're telling Go that we want to embed this directory called templates because we want to refer to the templates within that directory later on. So remember, templates contains our templates. And that's what this line 13 is saying, making Go know where to find those templates. And so I'm going to create a variable called template fs, and this variable is of type embed.fs. All right. Okay, so we have that out of the way. Let's proceed to actually create a type that will encompass a mailer. So we will create a mailer type. Okay, so let's just say type mailer, and mailer will consist of two fields: a dialer, okay, which will be our way of connecting to the SMTP server, and so it's of type mail dot dialer. Okay, and we will of course have a sender of type string, okay, who is sending the email. Okay, so let's create a new function that will allow us to create a new mailer. Okay, so we need a host. Okay, we need a port. We need a user name, and we need a password. Okay, and of course we need a sender. All of these are of type string. Okay, and so what we'll do when we have used this, we'll simply return the mailer that we have created based on these parameters. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and create a mailer that will be returned. Okay, so let's start off by creating a dialer. Okay, and so we're going to say mail dot new dialer, and we need to provide the string, the host, the port, username, password. All right, and so we have those. So we're going to say host. We're going to have port. We will have username, and we will have password. Okay, and then we'll simply say dialer dot timeout. Right? We want to set a timeout, just like we did for our database connections, and so we want to time out after 5 seconds. Okay, nothing new there. And so all I want to do now is to return our just created mailer instance. Okay, and that's easy enough. We will just say return a mailer, and that mailer will have dialer being set to dialer, which we just created, and the sender will be set to the sender that was passed in as a parameter. All right, and that takes care of that, and that's how we create a new mailer. Okay, now let's actually create a method that will send an actual mail. Okay, and so we will say func of type mailer. Okay, and this will be called send, and send will accept a recipient. It will accept the recipient, yeah. It will accept the actual template file that we want to use. So we will call that template file. And of course, it's of type string. Okay. So recipient template file of type string, and data will be of type interface, since it could be any type of data. And so we will simply return an error. And so let's do that. So again, this will be nothing new. We've seen this before. So we will simply call template .new, and of course we need to pass in the name of the template, which is email. Okay, and then what we want to do now is to simply parse that. So parse fs, and then we will pass in the actual location, which we know we saved in a variable called template fs. And then of course we need to pass in the actual template. So we will call that templates /, what's the name? Template file. Okay. So let's put our plus sign, and then that will simply be the emp template file. Okay, right here. Okay, so that looks okay. Again, we're simply parsing our template, which we have done before. And so obviously we need to check for errors as next step. If error not nil, then we simply will return error. Okay. Otherwise, next step is to simply execute the template. Again, something we have done many times. And so let's just create a variable named subject. Okay. And subject will contain this new. Okay. And it's going to be bytes.buffer. Okay. And so let's actually do the execute, and we're going to put in subject, okay, subject, and of course any data, right, which will come here. Okay, so let's execute template. Okay, all right, so what I'm going to do, okay, I will simply use this subject as a buffer to actually hold what is being returned. So this subject, right, will be used in our template execution. Okay, and that is exactly what we're doing here. So the next thing we have to do, of course, is to check for any error. And to save typing, I will just copy this since it's the same code. All right. And once I've done that, I will create a new execution. And so I will execute templates again. Okay. But this time, what I want to do is to execute the other template, and that will be called plain body. Okay. So notice I'm sort of building up the templates. Okay, so I'm going to create another buffer. Okay, that will contain the plain body, and of course we will execute that. So we will say error is tmpl execute template, but this time we're going to pass in plain body, and we're going to have plain body, and of course any data that our template will need, and we'll go ahead and check for any errors. Again, I'll just copy the bytes that buffer. Okay, so we have one more template to work with. Let's go ahead and add that, and I will simply copy this since it's similar. Okay, and so it's going to be the HTML body. Okay, and of course I'm going to call this HTML body, and of course it's going to be called HTML body. Okay, so I have done that, and since I have all the pieces, right, I've stored all the pieces in these buffers. Okay, so now I can actually put them together. So I'm taking the pieces of my templates, I'm going to put them together to construct the email. All right, and that's a pattern we are following. So I will create a new mail message. Okay, and so I just use the pieces. So let's start off. Message will be a new message, so mail dot new message. All right, and then I'm going to say msg dot set the header. All right, and so where's my set header? Okay, well, the set header will simply be to, and it's going to be addressed to the recipient that was passed in. And then I'm going to also say msg dot set header, and the other header will simply be from. Okay, and it's going to be from who? The sender. Where do I find the sender? Well, the sender will be in our struct, so I'm going to say m dot sender. All right, good. So remember, we have the sender in here. Okay, and so once we have set the header, the to and the from, let's just create the subject. So again, this is like constructing an email. Okay, and so the subject will be what we have stored in our template. Which template? The subject template. So subject, but we must convert it to a string simply because it's in a byte, right? They're bytes. So we have to convert the bytes to string. Likewise, we need to create the body of the message, and so we'll simply say set body, and we know that the body will be of type, right? So it's telling me set body, I need to specify the type. Well, we're going to start off with the one that's plain text, so txt plain, and that one corresponds to plain body dot string. Then of course we will also specify the alternate message body, which will be the HTML version. So let's add alternate, and the alternate will be the HTML version. So text /HTML, and that one, as you know, is in HTML body dot string. Okay, so we have our message constructed. Let's go ahead and call, okay, dial and send. Okay, so let's just call our dial and send. Okay, and so all we have to do is to call dial dot send. So m dot dialer dial and send. Okay, so what does dial and send do? Well, it opens a connection to the SMT server and it sends the given emails and closes the connection. What's the email? Well, it's the one we just created, MSG, right? Because it says it should be of type mail.message. MSG is of type mail.message. Okay, so we have sent our message. Of course, if there are any errors, we will need to deal with that. Okay. Okay. So if there is an error, then we need to return that. Now, if there are no errors, meaning we get to this point, then it means everything went well or a message was sent. And then, of course, we will just return nil to satisfy our function prototype, which expects us to send back an error. Okay. And that takes care of our function, our mailer.go function. So let me recap. We need to create a mailer type. And so we will be able to create a new instance of that mailer type, assuming we have all the parameters that we need. All right, specifically to construct a dialer, and then of course a sender. So once we have all of that, we create a method which is named send, which basically allows me to construct the email, okay, that is to be sent. So when I call this method, it's actually going to construct the email, okay, piece by piece. Use the pieces which are templates to construct the message, and then call the SMTP server and actually send the message. And that's it. So our job now is to use this send method to be able to actually send a message. So what I'm going to do in the next video, we will update our main.go file to be able to deal with the configuration for our mailer. I'll see you in that lesson.